Hello, I'm Wayne the Water Guy, and I'm here to talk about water softeners. Before we start talking about water softeners, though, let's break this down a little bit farther. We can think about this. If you have particles in your water, floating particles like clay, silt, turbidity, things like that, those are particles that can be strained out of the water. Maybe use a cartridge to do that or some other way of straining those floating particles out of the water. But what do you do when you have particles that are dissolved in solution? I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a gallon of water and you put a cup of sugar into that gallon of water. Well, it's like magic. That sugar disappears, doesn't it? Now, you could take that sugar water and pour it through a coffee filter. Guess what? You got sugar water coming out. When it's in solution, it's way too small. It can't be strained out of the water. So when we have minerals that are dissolved in solution like limestone, ferrous, iron, manganese, copper, things like that, there's no way we can strain those out of the water, but we can attract them out of the water. And that's how a water softener really works. Think of it as a magnet, if you will. Here's a magnet with a negative charge on it that attracts the positive charged particles of limestone, ferrous, iron, manganese, copper, and that into them. So you need to understand that, because if you purchase a water softener, because let's say you have odors in the water, gases, they're not going to take that out. Or if you have tannins in the water, the color, well, they're the wrong charge. They won't take tannins out of the water. If you have living organisms in your water, like iron bacteria, sulfur bacteria, things like that, it's not going to take those out either. So you have to know what's in your water to make sure that a water softener is the best choice. But if you use a water softener the way it's meant to, they'll last for 20, 25 years. Water softeners are made to soften hard water. They're made to take limestone out of the water, and they work awesome when they do that. So if you have hard water, you definitely want to soften your water. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is the configuration of a water softener. Now, when you go to a store and the do-it-yourself approach, so to speak, they have basically what would be, I classify as a one-piece unit. In other words, the main softener is sitting, we'll call it inside a garbage can for lack of a better way of talking about it. And then in here is where the salt is put, in the hopper next to it. Now, here's a problem with the one-piece type systems. Even though they're easy to sell because they're all in one box and they fit in small places, there's a couple downsides to them. There's always some dirt in salt. So what happens is you get some dirt building up in the bottom of this tank here. And it's just a matter of time before the water softener sucks some of that dirt up into the control head, and now you're getting plugged up injectors and things that's making the control head not work right. Now here's the challenge. Right here, you have this little teeny tiny window where you put the salt in that goes all the way down to the floor. How in the world are you going to clean that out and get that dirt out of there? It's hooked up to the water, it's heavy as all get out, it's impossible. And so these type of softeners are really made to be like throwaway softeners. If you have a problem, they're really not designed to do maintenance on them. What I highly recommend that you get is a two-piece softener where you have a separate brine tank connected by a little 3/8 line that goes from the salt hopper to the softener. Now you have one line, you can disconnect that, and you can take this salt hopper out, empty it upside down, get your garden hose in there, clean it all out, easy to maintain. These type of systems are made to be maintained and to last a long time. That's why I don't recommend one-piece units unless you're really cramped on space. There's maybe a few situations, but in general, I don't care for those. This is the way you want to go. The next thing we want to talk about is the size of a water softener. Water softeners take minerals out of the water, and so we look at how much minerals is in your water to start with. A lot of times it's referred to as how many grains of hardness is in the water. The harder your water is, the more grains of hardness in your water, and the more water your family uses, the bigger the softener has to be to compensate for that. Now, it's not only in the ability to take the limestone out, it's also in flow rates. And I'll give you an example. A standard water treatment system has an 8-inch diameter cylinder. Now out of that cylinder you can flow about 4 to 6 gallons a minute at full filtration. Now sure, you can ram 15 gallons a minute through a small softener and you'll get the water through, but you're running it so fast past the media that you end up bleeding different minerals. And so what happens is, if you need to, by going to a little bit larger tank, if we go to a 10-inch diameter tank, now we're up to the 10 to 12 gallons per minute, because as the tank gets bigger, it slows the water down so we can process more water. Now if we go to a 13-inch diameter tank, now we're up to the 15 to 17 gallons a minute. So when you're comparing one softener to another, it makes a difference how much resin is in the system, the capacity to take limestone out of the water, and then how big the media tanks are as far as how much water you can flow through getting all of that filtration. So those are some things to watch when you're purchasing a softener. The next thing is the warranty. Now, I like to say that what manufacturers give in big print, they take away in fine print. You got to know what the warranty on your system is, and they're all over the board. I've got softeners that start off with a 1-year warranty, as much as one manufacturer that has a 25-year warranty that even includes the filtration media. So you really need to sit down with your salesperson and go through the warranties, what's covered, what's not covered, because warranties are great. Manufacturers that make a good product, they're going to stand by them. And so watch the warranties. The next thing is dealer support. You want to know that when you get a water softener, that if you have a problem, it can be repaired. And a lot of times for you to sit down and try to figure out what's needed and to order the right part and to get it set up properly the first time and all that is very difficult. That's what we're here for. That's what a dealer is for, to assess what's in your water, get it programmed properly the first time when it's installed, and then if you have any problems with it, to know how to diagnose those problems and fix it. There's a few things that are different about my company though. I want people to be absolutely crystal clear about this. I want them to be happy with what they purchase from us. I want them to be happy with the water, with their service. I give you a 1-year money-back guarantee, no questions asked. Let the water sell itself. See what it does. And if it's not everything that I say it is, I'll take it back and give you all your money. So dealer support is important. Now the last thing we come down to is features. Now those are the bells and whistles, shall we say. You can go from a standard water softener to the most expensive water softener, and they all basically have the same kind of resin inside. So you're going to get basically the same caliber of water from the cheapest to the most expensive. But there's a lot of features there that you might want to consider. A few of the ones that I really like, and there's more, but first of all is get something that's metered. What I say by metered means it measures how much water you're actually using and only regenerates when it needs to. This right here will save you an awful lot of salt because our standard softener just goes every so many days whether you need it or not, very inefficient. This way you've got a big help there by not using a lot of salt. Another thing I like is a battery backup. Now, it's just a matter of time and your power is going to go off. And it's important that a water softener is always on time so it knows when 2 in the morning is when it's supposed to go through its cleaning cycle. And so some softeners have batteries built into them, so if the power goes off, it holds the time. That way you don't have to worry about having to go down and reset the thing. Another thing that I really like is what's called dry salt storage. In other words, inside the brine tank, you have all your salt in here. Now, all softeners, there's water in the bottom of the brine tank, okay? And so your salt is sitting down in water 24/7. And it's just a matter of time before the salt starts to mush or bridge, they call it, because the weight of the salt pressing down the water causes that to happen. But there's some systems out there that have what's called dry salt storage. They put water in the brine tank 4 hours before it goes through a cycle, And at the end of the cycle, it sucked all the water out of the tank, so the salt is sitting in the tank dry. You don't get the mushing, the bridging, and some of them even fill with treated water, so you don't get the minerally buildup down there. Great feature to be able to have. Another thing that some people like, I call it slime-free. All water softeners will make your skin feel smooth when you take a shower because you're not leaving any minerals on the surface of your skin. It's the stuff that you leave on your skin that causes the abrasion that makes it feel sticky. I'll give you an example. You have a glass and it has a water spot on it. The water's evaporated. The limestone couldn't, so you have a spot there. Well, you have water spots on your skin too. And the thing is, when you have a softener, it's an all or nothing proposition. Either you have soft water or you have hard water. But there are some softeners that give you the ability to adjust the hardness of the water so that maybe you want to have a little bit of feel of hard water. Let's say run a couple grains of hardness in your water, but take the bulk of it out so you don't get your clothes to be affected, hot water heaters to plug up, soap usage go up, things like that. So these are a few of the features. There's many other ones besides this that we can go into. That's where sitting down with a salesperson and going through all of the features and benefits of all the different ones you got to think about. But these are some of the main ones that you want to know about. And so if you take this information and when you compare it to one softener versus another one, now it starts to be an even comparison, apples to apples, as they say. And you'll make a great buying decision. If your water is the right kind of water that's designed for a water softener, get yourself a softener and you'll have 20-25 years of use that will give you great water. Appreciate the time of going into this. If you have any questions though, give me, Wayne the Water Guy, a call. You can even call me on my personal cell. It's 906-250-0202. Thanks a lot.